The following example is going to refer to the data table of the average points scored per game, PPG, for the 30 NBA teams that is in your notes. So flip to your notes because you're going to need to load this data into the calculator. So the first thing you do is open up a new document or current document that you're working in and add a list and spreadsheet page. You can also do that by going to Control Doc. That will also give you the option of opening up a different type of page. So add a list and spreadsheet page. You do need to always title your list. So I'm going to just title it PPG, and then I'm going to start entering the values from that table. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and let you do the same on your calculator while I'm. Make sure when you get to the last value in the list that you remember to push enter. Students sometimes will leave the last value like this and they'll go make their graph and that last value doesn't end up being in their data. So make sure you push enter and get it all the way in. The next thing we're going to do, once again, is to go to Control Doc and open a Data and Statistics page. That's how you make statistical graphs. You're going to go down to where it's the bottom where it says Click to Add Variable and push the center of your click pad to do that. And you'll notice a list of variable names will drop down. If you have more lists in this particular document, you might see more than just this. Then I'm going to go over and select my list name, and it automatically makes a dot plot of the values. Now you'll notice the dots are not stacked very neatly, and that's because there are too many values to fit neatly in the width of this particular dot plot. And you also might notice the types of values we have are decimal values, which are really not very suitable for a dot plot. Dot plots are better when you have a fairly narrow range of data with whole number of values and you can stack the dots neatly. So this is not the best type of graph. So we're going to make a different type of graph called a histogram. The way you do that is you go to Menu and you go to Plot Type, and then you'll see several different plot types. We're going to look at also the box plot later. But the histogram, I want you to notice as your calculator makes the histogram, what's happening with the dots. Okay, so it just stacked up the dots, and the height of the bar is the number of dots of value, the data values that are in the bar. So if we hover over with the bar with your cursor, this tells me that this bar contains the data values between 93.2 and 94.2, and there's 7 data points in that bar. And then here this is from 94.2 to 95.2. Now you might wonder what happens if a data value lands right on that edge. So if you look at the way this is written, there's a square bracket 93.2 and a curved bracket 94.2. So that means 93.2 would be included in that bar, but 94.2 would move up to the next bar. The next bar would contain 94.2 and above. So this basically contains up to 94.2, but not including 94.2. Now, notice, I think the default width in your calculator for histograms, the default width of the bars is usually 1 unit, and often that is not the best way to display the data. Often we would like to group them with fewer bars. So let's go ahead and change what's called the bin width. The bin width is the width of the bar. We can also change where the bar starts if that would be easier to see, and I think I will. I think I'd like my bars to start on a whole number. So I'm going to go to Menu and go to Plot Properties and go to Histogram Properties and go to Bin Settings and Equal Bin Width. So the width of the bar is 1. I'm going to change it to 2. And it says alignment, it starts at 92.2. I'm going to change it just to 92 because there isn't anybody that scored lower than 92. As a matter of fact, is there anyone that scored lower than 93? I think 93.2 is the lowest. So maybe we'll make this 93, then our bar would start at 93. So that means one bar is going to go from 93 to 95, 95 to 97, and so forth. Now when we do this, notice then that the bar height is too tall because we've grouped together all the ones from 93 to 95, so it makes a taller bar. So if you go to Menu and go to Window Zoom and go to Zoom Data, it will automatically resize your window so that it fits nicely in with the bars that you have. So now we have a really good histogram. In this histogram we see that there are 9 teams that scored between 93 and 95 points on average, 5 teams that scored between 95 and 97 average, another 5 between 97 and 99, and so forth. And then we get up to here, there's 3 points at 105 to 107. So this is a really good example of a histogram. Each bar, the height of the bar tells you the frequency of the data values in between those two values, 93 and 95. Now we can also change this to relative frequency if we want to. So we've got, this just tells you how many are in each bar, but you can also go to what percent is in each bar. So if we go to Menu and go to Plot Properties and Histogram Properties, Histogram Scale, now we can change it to percent. Right now it's in frequency, we can change it to percent. So now now the bar tells me what percentage of the teams are in each category. Now, if you are asked to draw a histogram on a test or an assignment or even on the AP exam, you will always have your calculator available. So I would highly suggest that you would enter the data into your calculator, make the histogram, adjust the bin settings, make it look the way you want it to, and then just draw it on your paper. So all I would have to do now on my paper is make a scale from 92 to 108. Or I might even do this, since this is from 93 to 95, I might make 93, 95, 97, 99. That might be easier. Make your Y scale, which is either the percent or the frequency of each bar, depending on what you want. And then you can see how many are in each. You can see that's 30%. You can see that's 16. So you can see exactly how tall to draw the bars. So use your calculator to make the histogram and then transfer it onto your paper. Now, how do you know how wide to make the bars? There isn't one right or wrong answer to that. Generally, you would want about 8 to 12 bars. So think about the range of your data and then kind of divide the bars accordingly. It's also usually good practice to make the width of the bars and the beginning and the ending spots nice numbers so your graph is easy to read. Like I wouldn't want to make my bars go from 93.1 to 95.6 or something, because that would be really confusing to read. So set it up so your edges are nice, so it's easy to read, and then you can easily draw it on your paper.